everyone, and welcome back to the Autism Awareness Australia YouTube channel. My name is Emily. I'm joining us from Gadigal land today, and I have a very, very special guest who's come back to the channel to talk about his new TV show, Austin. We've got Michael with us. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Hello, Emily. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations on the release of Austin. People are
Thank
loving
you.
it. Audiences are loving it. Critics are loving it. You must feel so excited and so proud of everything that you've achieved with this show.
I'm definitely proud of the show, and I'm also very glad to hear that the audience is loving it, because that's what really matters to me the most.
Yeah, amazing. We've heard lots of wonderful things from our community and lots of different people, all online and in person. So, yeah, you should be very proud. And I know that you've had to kind of keep this under wraps and not talk about it for a long time. So, it must be
Yep,
exciting now that it's out in the world and you can chat about, this amazing experience.
yep, it is definitely exciting to talk about it.
That's good. Well, I guess my first question is, this is like the title character, the titular character in this show. How did you get cast in the role of Austin? What was that process like?
I'll explain. The director, Darren Ashton, first saw me on Love on the Spectrum when it was first aired in late 2019, and he liked what he saw in me. He liked that I had on-screen charisma and the on-screen presence. And so he and a friend of his named Ben Miller, who is an English actor, talked said to each other, I think this guy could really act. And they were talking about doing a project for a while, and it was like they came up with the idea of a father-son concept for a television series. And so in January 2020, 4 years ago, Darren approached me in person at my house. I'm still living at home actually, and he offered me the role of Austin. Well, he offered me the a role in a television show, and it was an acting role. And so I was actually told that he was coming to give me some kind of guidance or something, but it turns out he was giving me an acting role, or offering me it.
Wow.
I was surprised, but also excited to take the role because it was a chance to pursue my passion for acting all over again. And when I grabbed it, I couldn't let it go.
Amazing. And I know acting has been a, aspiration of yours since childhood. So that would have just been so
Yep,
exciting
that's right.
to get that news. Yeah.
So basically, I never had to audition for Austin.
Wow. That's very interesting and so different, I think, for most people who have their debut. Usually there's so many months of auditioning and,
Yep,
yes or no, and different tests and different reading of your lines. And so that's so interesting that,
mhm,
you kind of had the offer straight away and then got to build the show from there. That's such a different
yep,
experience, but shows, how much faith and, how they really believed in your acting abilities. That must have been really
yeah.
nice to hear.
Yeah, it was flattering to know.
Yeah. And so you get the role, that's really exciting. And then you've got to go make it, right? You've got to go film the
Yep, that's
TV
right.
show, which is, I think, a lot harder than most people realize to make, a screen
Yep,
story. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So,
exactly. It
how
does.
did you look after yourself in this period? Make sure that you were kind of your best self on set every day, speak up for yourself. How did you manage that?
Well, I managed it very well because they everyone in the cast and crew were considerate towards my thoughts and ideas and needs, and we were also well fed on set. And when we were off set, we all had our own little accommodation. I was staying in my own apartment, and I also had an assistant. He helped me. He helped me with various tasks at times. It's because I still wanted to do stuff myself, like washing my own clothes and ironing and cooking for myself. So I handled myself pretty well. I developed a few skills during that time,
Yeah, what were some of those skills?
learning how to use a washing machine. This one was pretty straightforward, and also learning how to cook pasta. Not make it from scratch because that takes too long.
Hmm.
And also ironing. clothes as well.
All very useful things.
Exactly. And my assistant would transport me from the accommodation to unit base and then to the set. The unit base is where you get your hair and makeup done and then also get into costume.
Yeah, well, that's good that you had someone to take you to and from because,
Yep,
then you could just
exactly.
spend the morning focusing on, your lines and maybe talking to the other actors. I'm sure you guys had lots of
Yep.
discussions to have before you start filming. There's so much that has to happen. So that's
Yep.
good that you had the time to do that with
But
someone to take
also,
care of the rest.
yes, that's correct. That's exactly right. And half each morning, half an hour before my assistant and I were due to depart from accommodation, he would come over half an hour beforehand each morning and help me draw the lines.
Ah, very good. Yeah, because that's another big thing as well. There's so many
Yep,
lines to remember, and yeah,
yep,
without someone to practice, it can be hard. I can imagine.
exactly. That's exactly right. And it also helped me, and because there was a schedule, it helped me learn what lines I had to know for that day. Um,
Mm.
we did certain scenes each day, and I only focused on the day at present.
Yes, that's a good way to do it. One day at a time.
Yep, exactly. Because because if you try to plan the days ahead, you're just going to overwork yourself.
Yeah, that can start to really confuse yourself. Definitely.
Exactly. Just focus on the day at hand.
Yes. Good advice. Good advice for any industry, any job, I think, or just
Exactly.
life in general. Just focus on the day at hand.
Yep. So that's what I did to take care of myself. It wasn't hard at all because I am still pretty independent.
Yes, yeah. And it sounds like, you even gained some more skills from this experience, maybe some skills that you weren't expecting to learn. So that's always nice.
Exactly. And I felt like I grew in as a person.
That's very good. That's always nice. That's a nice feeling.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that's so good that you had some skills that you learned and you already had some strategies to kind of look after yourself when filming. But for
Mhm.
this role, you also had to travel. You had to travel to
Yep.
the UK to film part of the show, and I know that's your favorite country and that you were really excited about that.
Hmm.
So how did you kind of look after yourself when you had to travel and working in a different country, living in a different country? Did anything
Right.
change there? What were some extra things that you did?
Well, the working conditions were still pretty much the same, except for the weather. The weather was pretty cold because it was the middle
Mm.
of winter. And after I got to England, I stayed with Ben Miller and his family in their home in the Cotswolds, and
Hmm.
then at least twice, and then also stayed with Sally and her family twice as well. But between those times, stayed at a hotel in in Hertfordshire, close to Unibase,
Ah, that makes sense. Especially
because
when
we
it's
filmed
cold, you don't want to go far.
exactly because the Cotswolds is in the countryside.
Yes. Yeah, you could definitely tell how cold it was from your costumes. You had lots of beanies and big
Yeah,
jackets.
exactly.
Yeah, so that's nice that you got to stay with your sort of on-screen dad and your on-screen stepmother. What was
Yeah,
that
that's right.
experience like?
It was really lovely staying with them because it made me see what their family life is like and that they're really lovely people and they have nice homes too.
Yeah, amazing. Was it helpful to sort of stay with people who are locals? Did that kind of help you get adjust to the life in the
Yeah,
UK?
actually it did help me adjust a lot, yes.
Yeah, that's good. It's helpful when
Mhm.
somebody kind of knows the area well and can kind of help you, navigate things that might
That's
otherwise
right.
be a bit tricky.
Yeah, that's right. And we also did a little bit of sightseeing together while I was in England.
Yeah, what was your favorite spot that you went to?
My favorite places in the UK were the London Zoo, London Wetland Centre, the Swindon Museum of the Great Western Railway, and Aardman Animations.
Amazing. That's like all of your
Aardman,
interests.
yeah, exactly.
I guess I've got one more question for you, and
Mhm.
it's that there's so much to learn from, Austin as a character, but also the show more broadly. There's so many wonderful lessons that people can take away from it, whether they're
Yep.
autistic or not. What do you hope that audiences will learn from watching Austin? What do you hope that they'll gain from the show?
what I hope audiences will gain from watching Austin is that there's this could be the gateway to shows in the future catering to the needs of neurodiverse people because Austin himself is on the spectrum, as am I. A neurodiverse actor playing a neurodiverse character. That's the way it should be. And I was brave enough to pursue a dream like that, even if it meant having to give up a steady income. And so hopefully I will have encouraged people on the spectrum to pursue their dreams and and prove and show that even they can do anything as long as they put their mind to it and have the right support system behind them. And if people ever stop me in public, I'm still going to do what I've always done. Just interact with them and always allow a selfie if they ask for it because they support my work, the very least I can do is just give them a minute of my time. And what I'm also hoping is that a lot of fans over the years have said on social media, give Michael his own show. Hopefully this show is the answer to what they've been asking for.
And I definitely think you've inspired a lot of people, both on the spectrum and not on the spectrum, to, pursue their
Okay.
dreams and, yeah, to, follow their passions. I mean, neurodivergent people, autistic
Yeah.
people, people of different backgrounds have so much to offer, especially when it comes to stories on our screens. It's so nice to see,
Yeah.
difference represented in a really positive way. And I think Austin's really done that thanks to your performance.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, Michael, thank you so, so much for joining us. I know you're very busy doing press for Austin at the moment, so we really appreciate your time to chat to us about your experience making this wonderful TV show.
My pleasure, Emily. Thanks for having me on.
Amazing. So you can, Austin's running on the ABC, but you can also watch it on iView if you've missed an episode or you want to watch it again. We'll put the link in the description box below for you so everyone can go and have a watch in Australia.
Sounds good. But what I'm also wanting to know is when the Americans are going to be able to see it as well.
Hopefully soon. Our fingers are crossed.
Hopefully, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. All right. Thanks so much for chatting to me,
My
Michael, and have a
pleasure.
great rest of
Thanks,
your
Emily.
day.
You too. Have a wonderful day.